When you ready?
I'm ready when you are.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we open the select board meeting on Monday, January 9th, 2023. I'd look for a second on that.
Second.
A motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Unanimous vote 2-0 to open the meeting for business on January 9th.
Meeting is now open. I'd like to start by doing the Pledge of Allegiance if we could.
Absolutely.
Pledge
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to just make sure that everyone understands this meeting is recorded by MCM TV. We'll move on if you could, Mike, if you are ready. The town
I am
administrator's
ready,
report.
Mr. Chairman. Okay, I'll give the town administrator's report. I had a luncheon meeting with Chairman Darcy to review some agenda items, budget and maintenance issues. Meeting with employees who requested upgrades under our contract. We have language that if their job description changes, they have an opportunity to plead their case, and we can make some monetary adjustments. I did a site visit to 328 Ocean Street with Andrew Stewart, our building commissioner, with the concerned parties to view the construction project. There's a new owner of the property doing work, so we were down there and met with them. I hosted a monthly department head meeting at the EOC in December, participated in the weekly DPW construction meeting on site, had a luncheon meeting with Mr. Kilcoyne to review some areas of concern with ongoing town matters, weekly update with Fred Russo, our facility director, regarding the status and work being done at 225 Furnace Street, which is the new school building, and our ongoing capital projects, including the town hall renovations and bathrooms, and other maintenance issues at hand. Meeting with the resident to discuss dissatisfaction with a potential aquacultural program in Green Harbor. Participated in the blood drive interview at the fairgrounds with WATD. Participated in the EOC storm prep meeting with Lieutenant Artie Shaw to prepare for the storm at that time. Participated in a MEMA phone call regarding the storm at the EOC. Participated in a meeting with Greg Guimont and Ray Joyelle from Sowing Seeds regarding the easement for the signalization of the School Street intersection. Meeting with Mark McDonald from the Board of Health to review a Board of Health issue. Meeting with Sue Karen to discuss some potential land purchases. Participated in ZBA meeting regarding the dog park with Fred Russo, our facility director. Meeting with Beverly and Kate to review our insurance policy and some issues that needed to be addressed and some information that was required from Maya. Phone call with Scott Dixon regarding Brant Rock Village Association and the select board meeting on 11/9 on the debt exclusion. Press interview with Rob from MCM on the FY24 budget. Meeting with Fred Monaco regarding the Marshfield Housing Partnership and their upcoming meeting that will take place tomorrow evening, Tuesday, January 10th. Meeting with Fred Russo and representatives from WB Mason regarding select board bench. Participate in weekly police construction meeting with the contractor and the architect to review some ongoing issues. Participate in weekly DPW construction meeting to review ongoing issues, including electric, gas, installation of a phone pole for the electric, and furnishings. Meeting with Lisa Clark to assist me in signing on the ARPA sign-off for the DPW projects that they're working on. Meeting with Lynn to review some developmental issues. Meeting with Lisa Clark, our treasurer collector, and Danielle Kerrigan to review some ongoing personnel issues. Meeting with Matt to discuss EV charges around town. As folks know from reading, the state has come up with a $400,000 worth of EV charger grant, so we're going to try to get some more electric charging stations around town. It's the one thing people complain about. They have electric vehicles and can't charge them. Meeting with Bill Hawking, our former fire chief, and Todd Goodwin to review clinic and extension of services at the fairground. Phone call with Lenny LaForest regarding the clinic and extending the drive-through clinic for another 4 to 8 weeks because the number's going up so exponentially. Meeting with Tom Reynolds to discuss the Brant Rock project. Meeting with Danielle to review DPW labor issue. participated in the Eagle Scout ceremony with Miss Fiddler for Andrew Haley over the weekend. Meeting and discussion with Greg Guimont regarding MBTA housing initiative and working with Matt Parent on additional grants, and working with Beverly Wiedemann's retirement party with Kate and Jenna, that will take place on January 26th, and working with Fred Russell, our facility director, on the Ventress Library asbestos removal. Happy to say the asbestos removal has gone really well, and we're a little ahead of the schedule, and the goal is to get the rug installed right away and then have the library open by the beginning of February. And working with Good Energy on best practices for aggregation rollout using DOER municipal manual. And that is my town administrator's report, Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you very much.
Do you want me to go right into the clinic? Clinic, so cold and flu administered at the fairgrounds. Total to date, 4,682 shots. That was 3,804 COVID-19 vaccines and 878 flu vaccines. And because the numbers are starting to rise, we're going to close the facility down on the 14th. We're going to go through at least the end of February, and we'll see what the numbers look like. If it continues to grow and there's a need, we'll stay open for a month or two more. So
Fantastic.
that is my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Michael. Any questions?
No?
Fantastic. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to our first agenda item, which is Goodwill Hunters. I think I'm pronouncing this right. Kim Akora, is that the correct? Aruka. Are you Kimberly? Kim.
Kim.
Thank you for coming. I didn't think you were going to make it. You snuck in.
I did.
She was like magic, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
I mean, I was on the phone, and then all of a sudden, here she is.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just interrupt you for 1 second, if you could just remind everyone in the audience that the meeting's being taped.
Yes, I did that once. We'll do that again. Yes, the
Oh, you did?
meeting is
Okay.
being taped by MCM TV.
Excellent.
So I want to thank you very much for your gracious donation.
I'm excited.
It's a huge donation. I think it's the largest we've had it for the beaches. I know it's in memory of your children, and the donation is a $5,000 donation to the Marshfield beaches to be used for the purchase of 4 baby changing stations in the restrooms at Wrexham and Brant Rock, and comfort stations, and the remainder to be used to purchase snow fences, which are badly needed as well, and other supplies to help restore the dunes at Wrexham Beach. So I really want to thank you very much for doing that. It's a fantastic gift to the town. Lynn, do you have any comments or questions?
No, I'm appreciative as well, and I know this is not the only thing that you've done, and I really
And if I
want to
just
extend.
may make a small correction, it is in honor of Drew and Angeline Hunter,
Okay.
Gail and Jeremy's children.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for doing that.
Marshfield, yes.
Thank you very much for doing that. So then, if, without any hesitation, then I'd like the board to move to approve the acceptance of a $5,000 donation from Goodwill Hunters for the Marshfield beaches to be used for the purchase of 4 baby changing stations, restrooms at Wrexham and Brant Rock comfort stations, and the remainder of the funds to be purchased snow fence and other supplies needed to restore the dunes and Wrexham Beach. Second for that.
I do have a second.
A motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler.
Aye.
2-0 vote to accept the $5,000 donation.
Thank you once again. That was fantastic.
Our pleasure. May I also say
Yes, you may.
that Cindy Castro has been a key partner with us when we do our annual duck derby at Wrexham Beach, and we could not do all of the things we do without the cooperation of the town of Marshfield, our police department, our beach commission, and we thank you all for everything that you provide to us in order to do what we wish to do. So thank you.
Well, I've known Cindy for quite a while in my conservation days, and I totally agree. Cindy's very invaluable in what she does for the town. As a matter of fact, I saw her over the weekend, working this weekend as well, so.
Always.
Yes.
She ever not work?
I concur with that.
Mr. Chairman, did you want to take a brief recess and do a photo with Kim
Sure.
and Cindy?
Yeah.
Okay?
Kim, would you like to do a photo? Cindy, come on up.
We're gonna do it at the beach.
You want
Want
to
to do it at the beach?
instead?
Okay.
I think so,
Yeah.
thank you. 'cause
Thank you.
I
Okay.
don't have a check.
Preferably not when it's 20 below.
All right, great. We'll move on to the next item then. This is discussion and vote for the debt exclusion for Brant Rock Esplanade, quote-unquote bullnose design. I think we have Tom from the DPW here. Tom, would you come on up and help the citizens understand this a little better?
Sure. Good evening. Thank you for having me. This project has been we've had a number of meetings and design changes over the last 5 or 6 years, and we spent roughly close to $300,000 so far in designing this. From what we understand at our last department head meeting, every project now that's going to be $1 million or more is going to require a debt exclusion. So we're here to ask, we were going to phase this project in 3 or 4 different phases. The total cost of the project is about $3.7 million. That does not include the $500,000 we're eligible for complete streets. So this would encompass from the intersection of the High Road going up Ocean Street and down Island Street. It would change that intersection, make it more safe for both pedestrians and vehicles. There'd be some islands there. There'd be a bullnose roundabout so that they can make the turnaround. It would be made with some type of a brick so that the trucks can make the turn radius around there, the fire trucks. It would improve the parking. It would put sidewalks on the east side all the way up, and it would also improve the intersection at Ocean and the Esplanade coming around the corner there. So there's quite a bit of both pedestrian and traffic safety improvements. Drainage is still a major issue down there. Being below sea level and high tide, we're at the mercy of the water levels, so none of the excess water can drain out until after the tide goes down. So that in itself is quite a feat to try to fix. And just talking with some people is estimated at over $20 million just to, because of the size of the piping and everything and the valves that you'd have to put in down there. So it's very difficult dealing with the flooding down there. And again, this is only one half of the project until we know exactly what's going on the other side with development. So this is pretty much just trying to address the current flow of traffic, pedestrian safety, some of the parking issues. That's pretty much the what this project is. The Brant Rock Corridor, it would be advertised as one project rather than trying to phase it in a couple of projects. That is a savings in itself, because you're not mobilizing and remobilizing and rebidding the different phases of it. So by going out to bid at one time for the whole project, it's actually more cost effective.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. So I think what we have here is we're going to have 3 different things that we need to consider. The first is the proposed debt exclusion article. Then we'll need to make a motion and vote on the motion vote order, and then we'll need to make a vote on the ballot question as well. So there's 3 separate issues here we'll take. I know this has been going on for quite a while. I know this has been posted, I know it's been spoken about, and I think there's a fairly high public awareness of this project. I thank you for coming in on that, Tom, and helping explain it a little more to everyone.
Quite welcome.
Then I'd just like to open up to you for thoughts and comments.
Yeah, if that's all right with you, Chair.
Absolutely.
Could you explain this project a little bit more in light of the drainage for the area and whether or not the consideration for the floodplain and the storm surge? And I understand it from what you just said that the area is not, that problem is not being solved. And if the goal was to solve that problem in conjunction with this project, what's your impression of that idea, and what's your feeling on that? Because I feel the drainage is a sticky
Right.
issue
Currently,
for the town and where we're heading in the future.
currently, the drainage we have there now is adequate, except for at a high tide and a heavy storm. The new seawalls we put up have helped with the overtopping of water coming into Brant Rock. We still have to complete up the high road, going up the hill there, there's revetment there now. There's still a lot of splash over there. There is some plans to do some extra catch basins in the area, but again, at a high tide, there's nowhere for the water to go. They're just surcharging coming back. And we closed the gates on Dyke Road and Joseph Drabick Way, the tide gates, so that helps somewhat with the water from the marsh coming back into the Esplanade. But until the tide recedes, there's nowhere for the water to go.
So there's no plan for, in the scenario where there is a storm surge, we've got standing water, pumping it back out, any of that, the blowers and the things of that nature, that infrastructure, has that been addressed before or in the process of this project?
No.
As we see it right now?
No, we've looked into it. It's so cost prohibitive. And where do we put it?
Okay,
You know, that's one of the biggest issues is if we pump it from the Esplanade into Bass Creek, then there's the threat of flooding everyone else downstream.
right.
You know, so right now we're in a bowl surrounded on three sides by water and we're below sea level. So that we're really at a real disadvantage down there of trying to come up with a remedy
Right, I understand
that isn't really expensive.
So do you have experience with the permitting process from the DPW in an area like this with this type of a proposal?
With the projects? Yeah, we have a consultant that handles all the permitting. That's included in the cost of the design and permitting. So we deal with the DEP, we deal with the regulators also,
Okay.
and the consultant also deals with them on our behalf. But we've looked at different things we thought we might be able to do down there, but because of the elevations, and there's really nowhere for the water to go. That's what the cost is involved, the size of the piping, and people have talked about some type of chambers under the roadways, and there's where you get into a lot of money.
Okay.
Could I just build on
Yeah,
yours? So we
yeah,
can maybe
please.
back and forth, yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and trigger some further things
Thank
here.
you for giving me the floor for that amount of time.
Oh,
Thank
no,
you.
no, my pleasure. So we talked a little about the drainage, and there are challenges there, we understand that. And this is separate from that project.
Yes.
You could argue plus or minus whether this should be done prior to that or after that. Although it's taken us quite a few years to get here, I would say. It might take us a few more to get to that project as well. Does that be fair to say?
Well, it depends on how successful it was moving forward. If it was to pass this evening, it was to get past the town meeting, and it was.
No, I'm sorry, Tom.
Oh, I'm
I mean, the putting the blowers and, you know, the $30 or $40 million to solve the actual problem of the water. That's gonna probably take couple more years at least, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and there's actually funding, I don't know how much that would be available to help with that. I mean, right now, we're looking at the dike, and, you know,
Well, that's in big trouble, right? That's
Right.
very aged, right?
it's aged, and it's, you know, we're looking to raise that too, you know, so, I mean, but there's grant money out there that's available to the town, and we're we're asking for money at town meeting to do the design, so we're eligible for
On the
that
dike.
money.
On the dike.
On the dike, yeah. So, and our estimate to repair the dike is about $22 million.
Really? Could you just maybe just help us understand a little, once again, I understand this time, it's taken years to get here. The bigger project is drainage in general, handling water management in general in that area, because it's kind of a bowl, a basin. There's no place to put it, because the tide doesn't go out enough in time. This is, some would say, well, this is putting the cart before the horse, but that one may take so long, it's taken us a long time to get here. How about future development? Don't we have future development already planned for that area on the west side, I guess, of the street?
Yeah, no,
How
from
would
what
that
I
affect this?
Well, that's, the sidewalk already over there. So depending on what they do on that side of the street, the sidewalks there, they may have to, I don't know if they widen it over there, shorten the sidewalk, widen the right-of-way. Is there more parking in the street? I've seen a preliminary design, looks like a parking garage, but I haven't seen much more. So it's kind of hard to, we always kept that in mind and what was going to go on down there in the future
Right.
when we developed this. And that's one of the reasons for the Bullnose roundabout, is so that if there is a commercial businesses, the restaurants, excuse me, the commercial businesses, the vehicles that service them can access,
Or the turning radiuses
Right.
that they need?
right.
So are there anything that would cause what we spend money on to make new or repair that would be torn apart? Would there be sewer lines or anything like that that would be put in?
No,
that
this
would tear
would,
it apart?
anything that, and improvements that we would do would be from the center of the Esplanade to the east towards the ocean, and then from the intersection of Island and Ocean out to Ocean at the opposite end.
I just wanted to get that out. It's on the opposite side of the island.
Correct.
And also, any work they do, they would be responsible for as part of the development, I assume? Their hookups for sewer and things like this?
All of that's already done. We've upgraded all of the water and sewer down there already.
So, that's in
So
good shape for
That's
the
in
new
good shape.
hookups.
We've got 2 sewer mains that we'll be working on North and South Street. But other than that, everything else has been upgraded. The existing drainage is in good working condition. The water, there's a gas main that runs down the middle. That might be something, we'd talk to the gas company about relocation or putting it a little deeper. One of the things people wanted at one point was to put the utilities underground. It doesn't make any sense to put electric underground in an area that's a constant flood threat. So that was kind of ruled out. We do want to raise the center with some curbing to prevent the constant traveling over the island. The residents.
Shortcuts?
The residents
Shortcuts.
put a lot of time and effort into keeping that area spruced up, and people destroy it by driving over it.
I've personally seen people come straight down the one-way side, so I understand there are some traffic issues.
And that's one of the areas that we're addressing also. That whole intersection will be changed so
Fixed.
that it won't
Yeah,
be such a...
it's quite confusing.
Yeah.
Once again, I share select person Phil's concerns about just drainage, water, costs, everything in that area in general. Do you have something else you'd like to discuss or bring out?
The preliminary, that's the issue that I have. The preliminary design, it doesn't have the details that I would feel that we would need. I mean, I feel like it's our duty to understand the details, and at this point, I don't have the details. And there's still that perception from myself. So for that reason, I have a concern, and I would like to just ask the chair if there have been any other options available to this project other than the debt exclusion. And whether or not, maybe Mike, I don't know.
For the financing part of it?
Yes,
Well, you can run it out of operational, and if the administrator will help me out here, but I'm pretty sure I have this. You can run it out of current day operational money, which is not an option, it's too expensive. So that's out. The other, I believe what Proposition 2.5 allows is you can do a capital expenditure which pays for everything in that one calendar year, all right? But being at a total value of $3.7 million, we're not gonna have an extra $3.7 million in a calendar year. The only really other option you have, two options you have, is you can go to town meeting, I believe, and you could ask for a permanent 2.5 override for X amount of money, or you can do this, and that's forever. So that increases the town budget forever, which I don't know if the citizens would want something like that. And then you have left the debt exclusion, which is a defined expenditure for a defined project over a defined term. When that expires, it rolls off as the debt rolls off. Mr. Administrator.
Mr. Chairman, you did
and
a
this-
great job. You did a great job of explaining
Yeah.
the difference. The real two options are a standard Prop 2.5 override that's forever, so you'd add the 3.7 on to the tax base forever. Or you do the debt exclusion, which is the term of the note, whether it's 10, 15, 20 years.
I share similar concerns with you over total town debt. Proposition 2.5 was put in place to control total debt for the citizens of the town. And as part of that, they did allow debt exclusions. So if you do a lot of debt exclusions, where before was run out of the operational, if you could call it, money each year, now it's a separate bucket of money. It is $3.7 million. So if you have not any other further comments that you'd like to bring?
The last comment, I think, is
Yeah, sure. Take your
the,
time.
just the idea of the betterment, and how that may come into play. I don't know if this amount of money is significant enough to even,
Betterments.
yeah, I know. So, is that?
No, I don't think there's anything wrong
Chair,
with
could-
betterments, but.
I mean, this is a discussion between ourselves, but I'm just,
Well, I think it's important to get out so
yeah, so I
that,
just,
that people, you know,
everybody's, we're brainstorming on other things, that's all.
and people, you know, so maybe the citizens aren't aware that the select board members aren't allowed to speak with each
Right.
other over a topic we vote on. So the first time we speak about this in our thoughts are publicly, so the public understands exactly where we are. So we haven't had a chance to discuss this, so, towns such as Duxbury, when they do seawalls, do betterments. The citizens that are directly on the seawall pay betterment. Marshfield has historically not done that. That doesn't mean if we're continuing a lot of these, you know, debt exclusions, that betterments may not be part of the proposal for the total citizens of the towns as far as their tax load goes. So I think, unless there's further
I
thoughts
think
you'd like to
that,
discuss,
that-
I'd like to go, so there's three.
If I
Yes,
may,
yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry that I don't have a plan for this,
Yeah.
because we're still in the process of designing it.
Right,
You know, we were thinking where we wouldn't get the complete streets money until the fall, that the fall town meeting might have, but again, there's the three steps that you have to take here, town meeting, election, so.
Yeah. Not to put the superintendent DPWs on the spot, do you feel we're moving too quickly? Do you feel we should wait until the fall?
Well, I'm not sure on the time frame what the elections are gonna be in the fall. You know, is there a national election this November? Could you put,
No,
I
not.
don't think so.
No, there's no, like, so we would have to,
It
we
would
would
have-
have to
that's
add
why
a
it's
cost
now.
of the special election.
Right.
It's like 7,500 to 10 grand. If we
To
did
hold
it
an
this
election.
cycle, right, so if we do it this cycle, the special election's already scheduled. That's why we usually do them in the spring.
In the spring. We won't have the design probably until later into the summer.
Because I recognize Lynn's concern is we're taking a vote on something we don't see the final plan on, although we understand the concept of the plan, and we do have a hard dollar amount that we're going to be asking for? 3.7?
It would be actually it'd be 3.2 if we
3.2?
count the
500 back?
500,000 back from complete streets.
So we'd be taking, Mr. Administrator, a vote on 3.2.
You'd be taking a vote on 3.7, because you
3.7.
couldn't add. And there's language in there, so when Bob drafted these,
Pull it
town
back.
council, there's language that you would exhaust all the grant money first.
Prior. I don't know if that helps you, so that way we would, if we were taking this vote, the vote would be for a certain amount of money, so the design can move around all at once, but it's fixed at X amount of dollars. So I guess with that, Mr. Administrator, do I need to read this article?
You usually can read, people at home can't see it, so I would recommend reading it
I
so
was,
they
I was
just hear it.
I was thinking so too. It can't hurt. So the article is a proposed debt exclusion article to see if the town will raise, appropriate, transfer from funds available, and/or borrow sums of money to be expended under the general direction of the Board of Public Works for the purpose of paying for the design, permitting, engineering, construction, supervision, materials, and other related professional services, and any other costs, incidental and related costs in connection with certain traffic and public safety improvements to town-owned Esplanade in the Brant Rock section, town of Marshfield, and to meet said appropriation to authorize the treasurer-collector with the approval of the select board to borrow all or a portion of such sum of money under GML 44, Section 7 or 8, or other enabling authority, and issue bonds and notes of the town therefore, and any premium received by the town upon the sale of bonds and notes approved by this vote, less any premium applied to the payment of costs of issuance of such bonds and notes may be applied to the payment costs approved to this vote in accordance with MGL Chapter 44, Section 20, thereby reducing like amount the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs, and to authorize the select board and/or its designee to apply for, accept, and extend any state, federal grants, loans, or other public-private funds, which we were just talking about, that may be available for the project, and execute any and all documents and take any other action necessary or convenient to undertake this project, provided, however, that the vote taken hereunder shall be expressing contingent upon approval by the voters of a Proposition 2.5, so-called debt exclusion question, to exempt the limitation of the total taxes included by GL Chapter 59, 21C, the amounts required to pay the principal and interest on said borrowing, and any actions relative thereto. So that is the article that would be placed. And
And Mr. Chairman, if you want, you could read it all into the record in the one vote, because they're all connected. So you read the article that will
read the
appear in the
article, I read
warrant.
the motion,
The motion will
and the
will
ballot
be,
question.
right. So you could probably read all three.
I'm going to defer to my peer. Are you all right with that, or would you like a separate vote for all three?
I'd like a separate vote for all three.
Okay, so be. The next would be the motion vote order. The select board moves that the town vote to appropriate the amount of $3.7 million for the purpose of planning, designing, constructing traffic and public safety improvements to the town-owned Esplanade and the Brant Rock section of the town of Marshfield, including the cost of professional services for design, permitting, engineering, construction supervision, materials, and other related professional services, and other costs incidentally related to thereto called the project. And further, to meet the appropriation to authorize the treasurer collector, with the approval of the select board, to borrow all or a portion of such sums of money under MGL 44, Sections 7 or 8, or other enabling authority to issue bonds and notes of the town therefore, and any premium received by the town upon the sale of the bonds and notes approved by this vote, unless any premium applied to this payment of cost of issuance of such bonds, notes, may be applied to the payment costs approved by this vote in accordance with MGL Chapter 44, Section 20, thereby reducing by the like amount the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay for such such costs, and to authorize the select board and/or its designee to apply for, accept, and extend any federal grants or loans or other public-private funds that may be available for the project, and to execute any and all documents and take all other necessary actions convenient to undertake this project, provided, however, that the town is taken hereunder shall be expressly contingent upon approval by the voters of the town of a Proposition 2.5, so-called debt exclusion question to exempt from the limitation of total taxes imposed by GL 5921C the amounts required to pay the principal and interest on said borrowing or any other actions relative thereto. That is the second vote we'll take. The third vote is on the ballot question. And this is the ballot question. Shall the town of Marshfield be allowed to exempt from the provisions of 2.5, so-called, the amounts required by the bond, pay for the bonds issued in order to pay for the costs for the design, permitting, engineering, construction, supervision, materials, and other related professional services, and any other costs incidental and related to certain traffic and public safety improvements to the town-owned esplanade in the Brant Rock section of the town. Those are the three, which includes so we have the proposed article, which I read first. The second is the motion, and the third is the vote for the actual verbiage on the ballot question. In the second motion vote, it includes the maximum amount of 3.7 for this debt exclusion article. With that, I'd like to move forward and make a motion to accept the proposed debt exclusion article as previously read. I have a second.
Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Okay, motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Nay.
So okay, so we have a one in favor and one opposed. So the
That
motion
did not pass.
did not pass.
Right. It requires, I believe, a two-thirds
Two vote.
to vote. Right.
Two vote
two-thirds.
majority.
Yeah,
And
two-thirds.
just so folks know that are listening in, our chairman's not able to be here. He's traveling for business with his company.
The second vote is the motion vote order. This is where we specifically called out the dollar amount for the planning, design, and traffic construction. And I would like to make a motion for that, 3.7 million motion. And I'd like a second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, a motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Nay.
So 1-1 on that.
And then the third is the ballot question. As read before, this is the verbiage that would go on the ballot. As previously read, ballot question, I'd like to make a motion for that.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Nay.
Okay, it's a 1-1, so
So all three did not carry.
that's correct.
I want to thank the supervisor of the DPW for coming in, taking time this evening.
No, my pleasure.
Extra time coming in, Thomas,
No, thank
to help
you.
us educate us on this
Thank
issue.
I'm sorry I didn't have a plan. This was kind of fast
We don't have a
track.
plan. You can't have a plan if we don't have a plan.
Right. I have a preliminary that we just went over. That hasn't been, even the preliminary hasn't even been finalized, so
No,
that's,
well, this, it sounds like it'll be the fall.
it could be. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one, which is a vote to open the special town meeting warrant for February 13th, 2023, and close on February 24th, 2023. Mr. Administrator, should I read this town meeting? I think I should.
You want to, yeah, you can read that.
Yeah, I think I should read it. It's very quick. In accordance with Article 2.4 of the Marshfield Town Charter, notice hereby given that the warrant for the Town of Marshfield special meeting on April 24th, 2023 shall open and submission of the warrant articles on Monday, February 13th, 2023. The articles should be admitted to the Select Board office. The special town meeting warrant will close on Friday, February 24th, 2023 at 12:30 p.m. The special town meeting will be held on April 24th, 2023 at the high school auditorium at 7 p.m. So I'd like to make a motion to vote to open the special town meeting warrant on February 13th and close on February 24th.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
2-0 vote to approve the opening and closing of the special town meeting warrant.
Okay. Okay. All right, the next is the board is going to make a motion to request permission to hold the 24th Annual Best Buddies Challenge, Hyannisport, on Saturday, June 3rd. It's a bicycle ride. Is this new to us, Michael, or have they been doing this for a while?
24 years. They pass through Marshfield, they do Summer Street, and they meander down Summer Street, 3A, 139, and then on to Moraine and Acorn.
I think a friend of mine participated in this back in the like 90s. Any questions?
No, this is a great,
Okay, then I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the request for permission to hold the 24th Annual Best Buddies Challenge on Saturday, June 3rd, 2023. It's a 100-mile bike ride, Boston to Craigville Beach in Hyannisport. Bike riders will be traveling through Marshfield on Summer Street, Church Street, Ferry Street, 3A, 139 Acorn Street on June 3rd, 2023, pending the approval of the Marshfield Police Department. I'd like to make a motion to approve that. Looking for a second.
second?
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler.
Aye.
2-0 vote to approve the Best Buddies.
The next is, we're going to have a discussion and vote on the request for the permission to hold 3 weeks, which is a lot, Ned. 3 weeks of free outdoor concerts and entertainment at Harbor Park and the Town Training Green on Sunday, June 16th, 2023, Sunday the 23rd, Sunday the 30th, with a rain date of August 6th. Hopefully, if it won't be needed.
Chair, could you repeat, you said June, it's
Yes.
July 16th.
Sorry, did I make a
Yep,
mistake? Yep.
yep.
So basically, we're asking the select board for permission to use the green in front of the town hall, as well as access to outside lights, outlets, bathrooms. We'll make sure the town hall is ready for that and everything like that. It's a series, entertainment series, and it will be held for 3 weeks. It'll be free outdoor concerts and entertainment at Harbor Park and Town Training Green on Sunday, July 16th, Sunday, July 23rd, Sunday, July 30th, with a rain date of Sunday, August 6th, if needed. Correct. Any thoughts, comments?
No?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept that. I'm looking for a second.
Second?
Motion been made and duly seconded. Did you want to read the motion,
Sure.
Mr. Chairman?
Thank you very much. The board approves the Marshfield Cultural Council's request to fund 3 events this summer consisting of concerts and entertainment with a kickoff event on July 16th at Harbor Park and continuing for the next 2 Sundays on Town Green at Town Hall. The board also grants access to electric outlets, Town Green, and bathroom access in the events on Town Green. So I will make a motion again.
I would second that.
We'll get 2
Motion's been
seconds.
made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Yeah.
Ms. Fiddler.
Aye.
A 2-0 vote to approve the Marshfield Cultural Council's request to hold those 3 events.
Okay.
Mr. Kilbride, I have one question for you.
Yes, sir.
Is there going to be any opportunity for any public interview today, or is this just procedure? First, I'm just saying, is there going to be any opportunity?
It wasn't a public hearing, but I mean, if you had said you'd like to speak, I would have allowed you to speak.
We've been sitting here to speak the whole time. I mean, literally, we've been here from Grand Rock, and no one asked if we wanted to speak. I've got pages of notes.
Well, you're more than welcome to speak. I don't think that's going to change the vote, but if you would like to get information out,
I would love to get information out of it.
unless there is an objection,
I think that that's not timely.
I understand.
So therefore, I do have an issue with that.
Well, then,
It's just that some of the stuff that was said by Mr. Reynolds was not entirely accurate, and I'm gonna educate you, but if we can't go back to that, we'll continue with this one. Am I allowed to speak on this issue?
which one? The,
Harbor Park? Harbor Park,
the concerts on the,
concerts on the green?
yeah, sure, go ahead.
I mean, I'm really shocked that no one asked, all of these people that got up and left were here to talk about the Grand Rock Esplanade, and not one, I mean, there are people, look, there's people right there talking about it, and no one even mentioned it. It's crazy. And you guys know what I'm here for. So it's like, okay, so this is for This is for the Harbor Park.
So I do apologize.
Yeah.
I was waiting for someone to say something. No one said that they wanted to speak. It
I'm
wa-
like-
it
I'm
wasn't a,
like
pu-
literally-
it wasn't a public meeting, so we
Is
don't
it
necessarily
coming
have
up
to go.
again? Is it coming up again in the fall, though? I mean, we have this option again in the fall, or is this just gone now?
I would assume the select board can bring this up separately.
We can,
for the
that is
fall.
correct.
I mean, because literally, we've been killing ourselves for 10 years, and to have that go without any input or even discussion was shocking,
Yeah,
shocking.
sure.
Okay, so I just, yeah, if we can get that to come back, and maybe the next fall's town meeting, I mean, can we not push this off another 15 years?
Well, I don't think I have the
So
authority to
anyway,
commit for a town
so
meeting
on
at
the-
this
On the
point.
Harbor Park thing, I was there this morning, or after this afternoon about 4 o'clock, sorry, I'm a little flustered. And my only concern with the Harbor Park concerts on the green, or concerts on the park, is that it's probably gonna be the end of the night, right? Sunset, sundown, is that time it's gonna be?
5 to 8.
5
So
to 8, so,
it'd be finished well before sunset.
yeah, so end of the day. So that's a fairly high-traffic road. I mean, at 5 o'clock in July, there's a lot of big boats going through, lot of tight squeezes over the bridge. So, you know, I'm looking at it down there, and there's gonna be little kids, people, handicapped people are probably going to this concert. I like to take care of the stuff that's old before we go buy new stuff. So I got a few pictures here I'd like to give to you guys. This is where they want to park the cars for this concert. This is the guardrail that has been like that for years. One of the guardrail pictures has the crosswalk in it. I don't envision any of the children, as they did at Lobster Fest, use the crosswalk. They just jump across the whole broad guardrail and run out in the middle of the road. Not exactly the safest spot in town to have a concert in the middle of summer at that time of day when, as Mike DeMayo will say, it's a very busy time. So to have a concert 3 days for the month and all that going on, I think things should be fixed before we continue to do new concerts, new pathways, new walkways, that goes all the way to the sewage treatment plant like that. And you can tell it didn't happen overnight. Somebody's been mowing around it, weed whacking around it, and leaving it almost as if to say, the house has mice, burn it down, we can't get rid of the mice. So I think until the safety issue is taken care of with that parking lot that they're clearly gonna be using for this concert, I think the concert's a great idea. Maybe down on the church esplanade, maybe at the fairgrounds, maybe where they have concerts already. But I don't think concerts in the middle of summer, at the end of the day, when fishermen, and boaters, and probably gonna have Saturday or Sunday, it's the craziest time of night, the craziest time of year to have children and parents with baby strollers walking around. That's my opinion. Those pictures were an hour ago.
No, I realize that. I think we can maybe look to, I don't know whose responsibility that is. I assume that's ours, DPW. We can look to ask DPW to work on that. Michael, is that,
Yes, I know.
Guardrail DPW, is that
Tom
ours?
has, pardon me, the superintendent has some plans to replace the guardrail that's over there.
We've just been waiting for the contractor to come out and do it. He was supposed to be here the end of November. We're just waiting on it. The guardrail will be done the whole length of Drayvick Way,
Oh,
all the way to
excellent.
the other side of the bridge, and a new configuration at the crosswalks at Harbor Park.
You're great to have here at our meetings. Does that help answer that question for you?
Yeah, one more question.
Sure.
About
Yeah.
overnight parking and storage at that Howard Park.
Overnight.
Currently now, there's 3 or 4 vehicles and trailers. It's like a boat storage yard for abandoned vehicles and junk. Is
At-
that gonna grow
at
as these
which-
concert
which-
series goes on?
Are you talking about the parking lot right there on the
Yeah,
corner
right
of
in those
Drayvick Way?
pictures. Yeah, the one right in those pictures. That parking.
Yeah, that one, at
The
Drayvick Way.
one across
Yeah.
from Harbor Park, I believe he's talking.
It's good.
Well, I'll defer to the superintendent here. I thought the parking in there was for the vehicles that were working on this and things like that. That was what that was for,
I
Tom.
have a picture of that too. There's 3 fishing trailers and 2 abandoned trucks parked in there for months. It's starting to turn into like the lot next to Yogi's Liquor, where all the buses and the trains and things used to stay, it's starting to turn into that. So I think overnight parking should be not allowed if we're gonna be having, if it's gonna be used, you can't be storing 5 or 6 trailers in there overnight waiting for the concert to show up the next day. I don't think the
Are
neighbors
you aware of what
Those
these
those
vehicles
belong
are?
to, I'm not an expert, but we
I'm
could
not
check with Mike DeMayo, but this is the lobstermen have to have their traps all out. A lot of them have their equipment down there and their trailers to move them. I would be surprised if they're abandoned vehicles without license plates on it, so I'm assuming the harbor master may have okayed those cars to be there. We'll need to check with the harbor master.
I can email you a couple pictures tomorrow, Michael, with the cars with no plates.
Yeah, I think if vehicles are left without plates, that falls under also our building commissioner's ability to be able to have those notice of violations placed on them.
It's police, it's a police issue. So we'll notify both the police chief and the harbor master.
All right, so we will make sure we'll follow up on that. We'll have Mr. Mayo and Chief Torres to find out about those vehicles. And Tom, if you could look into it too, if there's anything there that that you might have. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Anything else you have?
No, unfortunately, no, thanks.
Mr. Chairman, the chief said if there were no plates on them, they'll be towed.
Answers that question. That all?
And just
Hi, Chief.
Just while we're, just so folks know, the MC TV was having the wrong date. They were saying that this was January 9th, 2022. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. It's January 9th, 2023. And our cable person notified the cable studio, but just in case people look, they're not looking at the wrong.
This is 2023, not
Yes.
2022.
Will you take comments from online Zoom?
Who is speaking?
That's
Mary
Mary
Murphy.
Murphy. I have my hand raised on.
Hi, Mary Murphy. What are your comments on, Mary?
Oh, I'm just curious because I noticed that you and Lynn approved the concert down at the pier very quickly, and I think Eric made a couple of good points, but we also have some issues with parking down there. Mike DeMayo is concerned always about the parking in July and August, and so like, how is it okay that the selectmen can approve this without, did Mike DeMayo already approve this? Is this coming from him? Like, who's this coming from? Like, I guess, why would the location not be on the church parking lot, like where all the restaurants and things are? Why would we put it on Harbor Park and like where there isn't really a lot of safety and parking for that matter?
So when we were putting,
Yeah, would you come on up, just let everyone know who you are so we can hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ned Banks, I'm a member of the Cultural Council, Marshfield, and this is the group that's proposing the concert series, 3 weeks. We have spoken to the harbor master, Mike DeMayo. He's granted permission, doesn't see a problem with it, likes the idea of having a concert there. As he said, they've had weddings there and other Jaws has been there, the Qantas has done some movie nights, and this would be in keeping with that type of activities.
Did you ever consider the chapel by the, in Brant Rock? Only because, I mean, we're trying to bring more business to that area, and it just seems like there's a lot more parking. I guess, how was it chosen that Harbor Park was chosen for Brant Rock? Just curious.
At one of our meetings of the Cultural Council, one of the members brought up the Harbor Park, and has been there, has been to different events at Harbor Park, thought it'd be a nice idea. We're open, we only have a 3-week opportunity for the series, because on either end is the Congregational Church Fair, then there's Levitate, and then after the 4th week, if there's a rain date, August 6th, after that is the fair. So it's really only 3 weeks that we can offer the types of programs, because we don't have an indoor facility in case of inclement weather. So Mike DeMayo, I've spoken to Mike DeMayo a couple of times on it. He loves the idea, supports it, so we thought we'd try it.
Okay, I'm just, again.
Excuse me, Mr.
handicap
Chairman,
parking, I know
all
Mike
questions
and,
should be coming through you,
Yes,
and then you decide
that
who
is true.
answers the
Thank you.
question.
Thank you. Yes, Mary, if you would just direct questions to the chair, and then we can rather than a back and forth with Ned.
I'm sorry
No
about
worries.
that, Mr. Hill. So, again, you've been to that area, you've been down by the chapel. I think, any logical person would realize that the Esplanade has more handicap parking, it's more accessible. And so I'm really kind of surprised that Mike DeMeo would approve this, considering he's going to town to try to figure out the ways to get more parking, because he's clamoring and telling us that he needs more parking. So like, I guess it's kind of weird, I don't know, Mr. Maresco might know, I'm sure he's been included in those discussions with Mike DeMeo. You know, Mr. Maresco, would it be, or Mr. Kilcoyne, maybe you could ask Mr. Maresco if he's had those conversations where, you know, he was complaining about not having enough parking and needing to expand his parking lot down by the pier because of that, and so now he's promoting concerts, which is again kind of interesting, not having the right safety in mind. And all the businesses truly are in the Esplanade. So why are we moving people away from the Esplanade? Why are we keeping businesses occupied? That's only my question. And again, you know, if it could be moved, I think that would be beneficial. I'd be all supportive of that, and I'd help you with this as much as I could.
Yeah, I don't think that's really germane to this. It's kind of a back and forth of whether he's spoken about something that has to do with a parking lot that has already been kind of semi-resolved at town meeting. I do appreciate your comments. I personally would like to move forward with this as the way it was recommended by our cultural committee. And if it doesn't work out and there are issues, I know for a fact that our chief of police, if they feel, or fire feel there are any issues, they will bring it to our attention, and then we'll have to modify the schedule. I don't envision that. Lynn, would you like to add to that?
No, we took the vote, and I appreciate the input, and I think it draws attention to a couple of the things that, that probably would have been part of the process anyway, but I appreciate the input.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to the next item.
Could I ask one more clarifying question, Mr. Kilcoyne? I'm so sorry. In the past, the first discussion on Grant Rock, do I have it correct that you approved all three motions, and what I heard was Lynn Fiddler was against all three motions?
There were three different votes, taken. One was a debt exclusion article, one was a motion order article, one was a ballot question article. I voted yea. Select person Philip voted nay.
Right, okay, so again, it looks like Lynn Fiddler is against Grant Rock and the improvements down there.
I'm
So
not speaking on that.
I don't think that's a particular conversation that we need to get back and forth with, and thank you for your comment. All right, so we'll move forward to the next one, which is discussion. Thank you, Ned, for coming. Discussion vote on the request for the DPW for authorization of dredge spoils area for the Marshfield Yacht Club. This is item number 4. As everyone knows, the DSA is there for dredge spoils. That's why it's the dredge spoils area. This is coming from the Yacht Club. It's sitting on, I think, it's Administrative Parsonage Street?
Parsonage Street for dewatering, that's correct.
Dewatering. We do have our DPW superintendent, if you'd like to speak on this. I love having you at these meetings, Thomas. We're going to bring you back every time.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. The request tonight is, we have been in contact with the DEP. They need the approval of the Board of Selectmen to transfer this from Parsonage Street to the DSA. This was from the Yacht Club South River dredging project a couple of years ago, and has been sitting down. It was supposed to go to the DSA, but it was too wet to transport the whole way. So they dewatered it at Parsonage Street. Now we're just looking to transport it from Parsonage Street to the DSA as it was supposed to have been done
Well,
by based on the permit.
yeah, we have to move. I think it's going to cost more money if we don't.
Yes, I mean, we can move it, we just need the letter from the Board of Selectmen. We have to go back to DEP with the letter, and we still have to keep track of everything we haul out of Parsonage Street.
Okay. Lynn, any comments, questions?
We received the Soil and Sediment Assessment Summary Report dated November 2022, and it supports the, this the town is in compliance with the DEP regarding the testing of the dredge spoils. So, that's it, just add that
Okay.
to the record.
So I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the current request of the DPW to move the dredge spoils from the dredging of the Marshfield Yacht Club from Parsonage Street to the DSA site, which the dredge spoils will be permitted to be disposed at the DSA site. The town is compliance with the DEP regarding the testing of the dredge spoils will not exceed anything. Before we take a vote on that, just, although this is not a public meeting, since there are people here, does anyone want to speak on this?
I would like to.
Certainly.
Great, so it's fantastic that,
Name for
the
the
yacht
record.
club,
Name for the record.
testing was, reviewed and approved. I think that's great. I feel like the material was sat there for well over a year not, so I think the rainwater probably helped with that. I also wonder, Tom, with the DSA and the EPA, who in fact is tracking the material that's going into the DSA?
So
You
Tom,
know, we're
it's
gonna,
coming to
we're
me.
gonna be allowing the yacht club, that's a private entity, to dump on town land. And the dumping has been going on for years upon years, and it was determined in 2004 that there would be a cap. And my question is, who is measuring the cap so that we can end the dumping at the DSA site and do whatever Mike DeMayo wants to do?
This has nothing to do with Mike DeMayo. This is a dredge spoils area that was permitted by the DEP, and that we follow the permitting regulations that allow us to take the sediment that can't be dumped offshore, is dumped in our dredge spoils area. And there is plenty of room in that location for what we're looking to deposit there right now.
Okay, no, and that's fantastic. I mean, I understand, like, that's, if this gets approved, it gets dumped, it's been approved by the town, it's been approved by the state. My question again is to you, Tom, and to the
The
selectmen.
question is to the question is to the chair.
Sorry, Mr. Kilcoyne, my question to you is, and you're actually with your past conservation experience, I mean, I think you would understand this. Who, in fact, conservation is approving it, right, the dump, and then the DPW dumps it, but who, in fact, is tracking what's being dumped at the DSA site? We have 50,000 cubic yards, was supposed to be at a cap in 2004, and my question is, who is tracking this? Like, who in town government is tracking the DSA material that gets dumped there? Like, Tom, you said, hey, the material is fine, it can be dumped, I get it. If we have a designated area, I get that, but we have a cap. Who is gonna be measuring when we hit that cap?
If I may,
Would you kind of, if you have the information, to answer that for us? And so I do understand that we have room there currently?
yes, the DEP has permitted the site, and there is quite a bit of capacity left there. Probably that could last us another 50-plus years, if not longer. Everything that's brought in there is tested. There's bill of lading for every load that's delivered and signed off on by a consultant, and a report is submitted to the DEP. So the DEP monitors this and keeps track of it.
Thank you.
And that is true, Mr. Kilcoyne, but just so you know.
She knew the
okay,
answer
They've
already.
been dumping there since 1918. Guess what? Conservation wasn't around then. So there has been things that have been dumped there prior to everyone reviewing it and things going in. So in 2004, there was, and I don't know, Tom, if you were here, or you, Mr. Moresco, but there was talks, and I have a memo from the DEP that says it was going to be capped at 50,000 cubic yards. So my question is, who's tracking it from 2004? Or are we just like letting it go and we just kind of turn our eyes or our heads and say, well, it's Brant Rock?
Thank you for your comments, Ms.
It
Murphy.
floods there.
So Tom, just to reiterate, we have room at the DSA?
Yes, we have a permit for, to dispose of dredge spoils in the area, and we're not even close to coming, even close to exceeding that limit. So there's
The state monitors that?
state monitors. We have a consultant that does a bill of lading for every trip that we take out of Parsonage Street to the DSA.
What about the dumping on the DSA site? Who is monitoring that?
That's a DEP, just as I said.
No,
We
the
file a report, the DEP monitors that report, and they'll possibly send someone out to take a in-person look at what's going on.
So if the DEP has
So we're saying that the
object.
DEP is monitoring the amount of pumping.
So this is not like a total Q&A session. So the DEP monitors that. If the DEP has an objection, the DEP will let you know, Tom?
Yes. I mean, this letter that we're getting from the board has to go to the DEP. We then have to meet with Doug Copey from the DEP. And at that point, we'll go over exactly what our process is. I mean, they tell us what to do, we just follow up with them. This is it, our consultant will be on site. He will do each bill of lading with the tonnage that leaves the site.
Okay, thank you. Then I have enough information. Do you feel that you have enough information with the input we have and from Tom and for the public? We'll take one more, as long as it's not repetitive, please.
One small simple question. I just remember back in the 80s when they did the last dredging or some of the dredging, they had a stink hotline. We all know that the mud is gonna, the dredger spoils are gonna have sulfurs in them, they're gonna smell. You know you're gonna get calls from the neighbors about the smell. I know DEP does some work with the odor. Is there gonna be, like back in the last dredging when they pump the water out and let it sit, is there gonna be a hotline that the neighbors can call when the stink gets out of control, or is this just, is it just gonna get dumped in? Sorry, Mr. Kilcoyne.
No, that's okay. So I think that's a reasonable question, and I think if previously the DEP handled this, that would be a course of action to speak to the DEP. I am not an expert certainly on sulfuric odors from dredge. I know this has been sitting for a while.
It's been sitting for over 2 years.
Yeah, it's been sitting for a while. There's been a lot of rain on it.
It's dry, there's
so
no water.
I don't know if this is going to be like a similar, wet deposit in the DSA.
It'll be dry.
So if you have that, Tom, would you be more than willing to help if any citizens have any questions
Sure.
on that?
Yep, they're more than
I
happy.
honestly don't know if you can do anything about stink anyways. I just
Oh,
remember
dry.
being in there and saying, what would you do with that?
It's a lot different when they pump it, when it's liquid and they're dewatering it.
You have to do tight tanks and everything
Right.
like that. There's a lot of liquid.
Right. So these have all been tested, all of the organics and any volatiles have been tested, and they're all come back clean.
Yeah, it's like living on the North River at low tide.
Rich better than my world.
Twice a day.
Yeah.
I'll go back to you, Lynn, again. Do you have enough information to make
I
a
have
decision?
enough information.
Okay, I'll reread the motion. The board moves to approve the request of the DPW to move the dredge spoils from the dredging of the Marshfield Yacht Club to Parsons Street to the DSA site, which is the dredge spoils, which is permitted to dispose at the DSA site. The town is in compliance with the DEP regarding the testing of the dredge spoils, which is not to exceed any thresholds for hazardous materials. I'm looking for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler.
Aye.
2-0 vote to approve the dredge spoils being moved to the DSA site.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in, Tom.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you,
Great help.
Tom.
We'll invite you back.
Thank you, Tom.
The next is discussion and vote on the request of the commission to accept a donation of $500 from the Veterans Group, to the Veterans Group, from Mr. and Mrs. Eugene Spriggs. It's going to be used to assist our veterans and their families in times of need through the gift account. Any questions or
No, terrific.
concerns on that? Then I would like to make a motion that we approve on behalf of the Veterans Services a donation in the amount of $500 from Mr. and Mrs. Eugene Spriggs. The donation will be used to assist our veterans and their families in time of need through the gift account.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler.
Aye.
2-0 vote to approve the $500 donation from Mr. and Mrs. Eugene Spriggs.
The next is discussion vote on the request of the permission to accept a donation of $100 from the Veteran Services. This is a donation to the town of Marshfield Veterans. Accept a donation for $100 from Mr. David Carrier. The donation will be used to assist our veterans and their families in times of need through our gift account. Any questions or comments?
No?
Without further ado, then I would like to make a motion on behalf of the Veteran Services, a donation in the amount of $100 from Mr. David Carrier. The donation will be used to assist our veterans and their families in time of need through the gift account.
Thank you, Mr. Carrier, and I second that.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler.
Aye.
2-0 vote to approve the $100 donation to veterans from Mr. Carrier.
Next is discussion vote on the temporary closure of the license premise for the Fieldston Restaurant. I believe this is happening, Michael, because there's a new sale pending.
That is correct.
It's going to take
Mr.
place
Chairman.
within the next month or so.
By February 28th of 2023.
Okay. Lynn, any questions, comments?
No?
No. Without that, then I would like to move the closing of the Fieldston Restaurant by its owner, Jan Perrin, effective December 21st, 2022, pending the closure of the sale for the new owner. The closing is scheduled to take place on or before February 28th, 2023, with a new owner. I'd like to make that motion. Look for a second.
Second?
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
2-0 vote to approve the closing of the Fieldston Restaurant by its owner, Jan Perrin, effective December 21st.
Thank you. Number 8, discussion vote on the town enrollment of the use of the Massachusetts State Ethics Commission online training program. So this is the new promotion that the State Ethics Commission has rolled out. And it's to record and capture ethics compliance for all individuals involved in state and local government. And it's made across the town. It's going to eliminate the need for paper records and compliance, and allows the municipality to track compliance over years. The past is the responsibility of the people collecting these materials, which I believe is our town clerk, sitting here in the back of the room, responsible for maintaining the files of ethics certificates and conflict of interest compliance. This is an automated service that's now available. Any comments or questions on adopting
No, I
this?
think this is a terrific
Any comments or
idea.
questions? Then I would move to the town of Marshfield participate in the Massachusetts State Ethics Commission automated ethics system. This new system eliminates the need to keep paper records and compliance and allows the municipality to track compliance from its users. I'd like a second for that.
Second?
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
2-0 vote to approve the town of Marshfield to participate in the Massachusetts State Ethics Commission automated ethics system.
Last but not least is I'd like to make a motion the board approve the minutes, unless you have any comments or
Nope.
discussions on that. Approve the minutes from the December 19th, 2020. I assume this means 23.
December 19th,
just
2022.
December 19th, 2022.
Thought you were going to catch me.
I'd like to-
Second?
a second for that.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the minutes from December 19th, 2022.
And seeing no further business on the agenda, I would make the motion the board adjourn the meeting of the Marshfield Select Board on January 9th, 2020.
Second?
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
2-0 vote to adjourn.
Meeting's closed.